Good morning. It's Saturday, August 15th, and it's time for Real Estate with Mr. G. Okay, I think I'm back on the air. Okay, all right. Well, it's a rainy Saturday morning. We actually do need the rain, even though it's kind of gloomy, but the lawns need the rain. So we might have to deal with a Saturday where there's a little bit of rain. But wanted to talk about. All right, that's my feedback. I'm watching it. Make sure that everything is working. Want to talk again. It seems to be a constant reminder of what's going on in today's real estate market, but we do have a great need for listings. In fact, Rain, and that's our local multiple listing service, just put out a graphic with information saying we're hurting right now. There's really not much to look for right now. If you're a buyer, you don't have that many properties to look at. And I have a lot of people working. I have people calling in wanting properties, but they're reviewing and reviewing, and it's something that the properties that are there right now, and I'm not putting down the properties that are available, but it's not meeting their needs. So again, if you're on the fence whether or not I should list, if it's a good time, it is a good time. And as I have repeated before in the past, if you have concerns about COVID-19, we've taken added precautions to lower the amount of transmission. And even in the logistics of a real estate transaction, everything is being done over the computer. People are digitally signing. They don't have to go into a title office and sign paperwork, or their closing company and sign paperwork. So the precautions are there. So that shouldn't hold you back. If you're living in your home and you're in the age group where you're most vulnerable to COVID-19, and if you don't want to take a chance, well, then that's what it is, okay? But feel assured that the real estate industry is doing everything to lower that transmission of COVID-19. So let me switch over, and this always takes me a few minutes to get this going. I think I got it here. So I'm going to share this, and just want to make sure that this is hitting up on my screen here. There's always a few seconds delay, much more than a few seconds delay when it goes from no, it's not switching over. Okay, hold on. It's sharing. All right, hold on. No, hold on. Application window. Oh, did I? So it says that I'm sharing a window. But why am I not seeing it over here? Oh, okay, now I remember. Okay, now, sorry about that. Here, okay. And let's see, can I make this? Okay. All right. Okay, so let me shut off my feed over here. Okay. So we can see over here that this came out this week from RAIN, our Real Estate Information Network, our market summary. And we have here a big decline of active listings. All right. We're down 38.40%. If you look at everything else is strong. Settled sales, sales that actually closed, pending sales, contracts that are that they've been ratified. They've had their home inspection. The contingencies are off of them, and they go into a pending status. All contingencies are off. As I first mentioned, home inspection, and then there's if it's in a co-op or a condo or a POA, there's always the packet that the buyer has to review, and if they're not happy with the rules and regulations of that POA, then they have a right to rescind within 3 days. So this means here, if this is done correctly, if the agent did their paperwork correctly, this is goes to pending after all contingencies are off the contract. So that's up. Oh, excuse me. And we also see that new construction settled sales are up. Okay, so as for the movement within the real estate industry, all of this is strong. Okay, but there is a desperate need of listings for listings. So I've been doing this for about 2 months now, and it seems like I'm a broken record because I keep on repeating it, but we need listings. And what else came out this week? This is graphics that went on my on my blog this week. And they give, this is very good because sometimes, and they call them infographics, sometimes, a picture is 1,000 words, and this hits home more than giving a long narrative of what's happening right now. But this is mortgage rates by decade for a $300,000 home. And it says right below, and I'll just go over that. Sometimes it helps to see the dollars and cents you'll save if you purchase a home while mortgage rates are low. Buying a home, actually, I'm just working on my other computer here. Buying a home at today's historically low rate can save you significantly over the life of your home loan. All right, so let's move this down here. So we bought a $300,000 home in the 1970s, and that time the average mortgage rate was 8.86, and that's pretty high. Your monthly payment is $2,384. In the 1980s, when we had extremely high mortgage rates, okay, here you have 12.7%. I mean, we're getting like 3% now on mortgage interest. Back in the 80s, it was 12.7. So that same house was almost $1,000 more a month, right? Okay, $900 more. That's a big difference. In the 1990s, it starts going down back to where it was in the 70s. And now we have, for that house, we have 2,267. And in the 2000s, it begins to drop more, 6.29%. Our mortgage payment goes to $1,855. And currently, in the 2010s, the average has been 4.09. Currently, it's floating around, and actually there's a graphic below that, at 2.96% at 1,448. And if you get it still, they went up a little bit this week. I was told by one of my mortgage loan officers that there's a little bit of fears of inflation coming on. And with the uncertainty of COVID-19, it went up a little bit. It's still way below 4.09%. But here you have it at 2.6. So if you're able to catch this great rate of 2.96%, or even if you get at 3%, from 12.58 at one time when it was as much as 3,248, that's like a $2,000 difference. So very simply, the lower the mortgage rate, right, the lower your payment would be. So you want to jump on this if you're ready to purchase. You really want to jump on this over here right now and take advantage of that 12.58. I don't know what's going to happen next year. We've always thought, and when I say we, I'm talking about real estate agents and mortgage loan officers, that it would have been high by now, but higher than it is now. But to keep the economy moving, these rates have stayed low. But there's a point where, without going more and more into the banking industry and how it works and dealing with different economic times, you can't always keep it that low. But that's a whole other discussion, a whole other podcast, okay? So here we have another one now. Homes are more affordable right now than they have been in years. And that's the reason why, what we just showed, because of the lowering of the mortgage rates. Okay? How is that possible? As of mid-July, it required 19.8% of the median monthly income to make the mortgage payment on the average priced home purchase, assuming 20% down payment and a 30-year mortgage. That was more than 5% below the average of 25% from 1995 to 2003. This means it currently requires a $1,071 monthly payment to purchase the average price home, which is down 6% from the same time last year, despite the average home increasing in value by more than $12,000 during that same time period. In fact, buying power is now up 10% year over year, meaning the average home buyer can afford nearly $32,000 more home than they could at the same time last year, while keeping their monthly payments the same. Okay, that's a big number here, $32,000. So again, this extremely low rate in the mortgage is allowing you to purchase that home that you truly wanted, and with a much lower payment. And that what that also means, let's say a year or 2 years ago, you were looking at price at homes in the price range, let's say of 200,000, and your credit was good, you were approved, but let's say your top was 175 or 180, and you really couldn't go above that. But with the lower mortgage rate on it, now there's a very, very good chance you will now be eligible for that house, because that payment on a $200,000 home from a few years ago has gone down because of the lower interest rate. So again, if you're ready to buy, this is the time to get into the game and start looking. I and my other fellow real estate agents will be pushing to get more listings. Okay. Now, I want to move down to this one here, because this has been affecting quite a few of my clients, because they are investors, and they are trying to get something up on over here so I can see what I'm doing. Uno momento. Okay, so this is hurting the segment of my clients who are investors, because actually there are less foreclosures on the market right now, as well as short sales. So usually investors are trying to get that foreclosure or that short sale when it's a distressed property. They are motivated to sell. They might go down even lower than the market price or the listed price of the property. And they'll bid lower. I mean, that's what investors do. If there's a battle, if there's a price, or there are multiple offers, they might actually go higher. But that's another scenario. But they usually go below the market price or the listed price of the property and try to win it over. And then they'll either flip it, fix it up, or they might still fix it up, maybe in not such a great detail or not that many upgrades, but just make it, or should I say high-end upgrades, let's put it that way, and then they will rent it out. But with today's market, we have very few foreclosures because of the economy being better up to this point, all right, and also the increase in home values of houses. See, this affects more of the short sales. The reason why, and going back to around 2008, 2009, people were selling their homes or putting their house on the market because they end up having a mortgage balance that was greater than the market value of their home. So they were upside down. And this happened, around 2008 when we had the real estate bubble that burst. Home prices prior to that were actually probably too high. We had problems with the hard lenders and loans. People could no longer afford their mortgages, and a lot of properties went on the market. And we had people who were then having a much higher balance than what is worth. So they said, well, I want to get rid of this. And in 2008, many of them just put their house on the market and tried to sell it below the price of it, and making a deal with the bank saying, would you take less? Then the banks began to, I don't want to say smile up, but they began to say, You can only do this if you're in financial difficulty, and you have to prove that to us. If you bought a house where the value has gone down, hey, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. You have the house. If you could still financially pay that mortgage, then you have no reason to sell it. So later on, the banks began to say that, okay, we'll consider of you selling it short below market value, but you have to show to us that for some reason, whether it's economic reason where you've lost a job, you became divorced, you were sick for a long time and had a large medical bill, whatever, you would have to show that to us. So that up to this point, and again, when I show these articles and I show these infographics, that's a picture of what's happening right now. Okay, that's a snapshot of today. These articles came out this week, of August, the second week of August of 2020. That's that point right now. A little bit later, I'm going to talk about what might happen afterwards. So we have less foreclosures right now. And the reason why is just because the strength of the current housing market growing every day and more Americans returning to work. And here, I'm glad that the article uses the word current, because that's how this picture is right now. As more Americans returning to work, as long as the economy is strong, all right. And it actually adds here, regardless, many are still asking the question, will we see a wave of foreclosures as a result of the current crisis? Thankfully, research shows the number of foreclosures is expected to be much lower than what the country experienced in the last recession, and here's why. According to Black Knight, the number of these in active forbearance has been leveling off. All right, here's a graph showing that. Black Knight Inc. also notes of the original 4,208,000 families granted forbearance, only 2,588,000 of these homeowners got an extension. Many homeowners have once again started to pay their mortgages, paid off their homes, or never went delinquent on their payments in the first place. They may have applied for forbearance out of precaution, but never fully acted on it. And there's always a graph, okay? And here's a graph showing the amount of people who decided not to go with a full foreclosure on their property. And it also talks about how people with the increasing value of homes, they have more equity in their houses. So all of this is very good news. And this is basically each other kind of builds up on each other, and the way buyers have more buying power is because of the low mortgage rates. These are all on my blog. My blog gets updated the minimum of 5 times a week. And that's not including videos that I put on. And you could see all these articles and read them in detail and look at their references at realestatewithmrg.blog. Okay, real estate, and I think I have it on my graphic here. So you could view all of that there. I'm going to go back to my page, and here I am by myself. So again, I have it right below me, realestatewithmrg.blog. You could review all those articles. Mortgage rates, buying power. I'm going to show a short video on preparing your home for sale. And again, I just want to bring in that other fact that that this is a picture of your current market. What's going to happen next year? It's a gamble. These companies, whether it's from Realtor.com, whether it's Inmon, which is kind of like a website for the real estate professional who subscribe to that. The public could subscribe to it as well, but it's geared for us real estate agents. And they will always post, as much as I can, positive articles about the industry, which is good. This is important. But I don't want to give a false feeling of security right now, because ever since I saw the it was last week, or I actually think it was the week before, where the GDP came out, and it was down about 32.9%. That's a big dip, and that means that America is not producing as much as it has been, let's say at the very beginning of the year, and it's falling, and companies they're slowing down, especially like in the manufacturing process, or they're not producing at all. The other day I went with the missus and we were looking for fluorescent light bulbs for the kitchen, ran out. We went to one store and they said, we couldn't get our size. And they just were saying some things are not coming in right now. So there are different segments of the manufacturing industry that they're not producing right now because they can't get their workers in. They might have in that state social distancing where they can't have a certain amount of people within a certain square footage area. Everything is going on. And we know that the entertainment industry is hurting, and whatever goes along with that. So you go to a football game, the people who have the concession stands, they're not making any money. The people who have the parking lots where you pay $5, $10, they're not making any money. Okay, the local restaurants, they're not making any money. The hotels are not making the money that they have been before. Hampton Roads area, because of Virginia Beach and Busch Gardens and Williamsburg, are a big tourist location, especially during the summer months, the spring and summer months. Okay, people are not going. Well, they can't go to Busch Gardens because it's closed. So all this revenue is not there. The restaurants in Williamsburg, the hotels in Williamsburg, it's adding up. And depending on how long we have to deal with COVID-19 and how much we have to stay in sort of a lower level of allowing people to work, that's going to affect how much longer it will take us to get out of this point we are right now. So the longer it lasts, the more difficulties we have. So right now it's kind of at this point right now, at least for the real estate industry, it's been good. I don't know what's going to happen in 2021. My only I don't want to make a prediction, but what I want to say is that the longer we stay in this shutdown mode or semi-shutdown mode, it's going to take longer to recover. And it's going to be then a domino effect or a snowball effect. And it's going to start hurting other industries. And eventually it's going to hurt the real estate market. All right? And again, when I state this, I don't want to say, hey, everybody, let's go right back to work and let's assume the normalcy we had before. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying what it is, what the deal is. If more people get sick and some states have to shut down more, then we have to do it. I mean, people's lives are more important than going to a game or a restaurant. Now, I know for the people who own restaurants and for those other people, I know you're hurting. I know you're hurting, and I'm hoping that the administration comes out with another stimulus package to help with this problem. But if numbers go back up again, and we're going now into fall season, and we're going into the flu season, and with that, and with COVID-19, it could get very messy. So these are snapshots of what's happening now. And right now, the market is good. And if you want to purchase, you should do that now to take advantage of those really low mortgage rates. And if you're a seller, then you should really take advantage of entering your house on the market with very little competition. Where again, and again, this is not an exaggeration. People are getting offers the day that they put their house on the market, and sometimes it's multiple offers. So take advantage of that while you can. So with that, I'm still learning this software program, and you only learn. The only way you really learn it is when you go live. So when you go live, people are seeing, everything. So I only could practice this software when I go live. Okay, but I want to give a little introduction to that video. So I found an old educational film from 1957 it's in black and white, on how to prepare your home for sale. So I would like to show that to you because I want you to put your house on the market. I want you to call me, contact me, and say, I want to list my house. So here is that video. Okay, so that's some tips on preparing your home for sale. An old vintage black and white film I found that was made in 1957 for the real estate industry. All right. So ready to list. Call me, contact me um, anytime, either by this wherever. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching on YouTube, contact me. I could also, let's see, I'm going to put up my email address. And also my cell phone number. You could text me. Okay. Let's see. Okay. And we're going to show that. There we go. Love technology. Loving technology. All right. And let's talk. If you want to buy, let's talk. All right. So thank you very much. Have a good week. Wear your mask. Keep 6 feet away from each other. And we'll talk soon. Be well.